So, Ian, we had an announcement. Look, we had like 3 late-breaking topics to this podcast.
We sure did.
On the nose. Nintendo Switch Online it's finally been announced about what this thing's going to consist of.
And it largely looks like it's going to consist of exactly what they were telling us it was going to consist of pretty much the whole time.
It was what we thought it was.
I don't know. It's like we're children who need constant reassuring by our parents.
This bothers you more than most topics.
It does, because they've been talking about what it's going to be forever.
Since before it launched.
And people keep asking about it, and people keep... Okay, so it's fine. The Nintendo Online service was announced, and there were no surprises. I mean, very few.
There was one surprise, I thought.
I'll mention the one thing that I thought was kind of surprising. Okay. I have absolutely no problems with Nintendo's online service. A couple minor ones that I guess were to be expected. Starting in September 2018, the Nintendo Online service is starting. That's when you'll need to start paying for your access to multiplayer games online and such.
But not all of them. They didn't say it was necessarily going to be all of them. But they did announce ones you're definitely going to need it for.
Sure. Splatoon, Mario Kart.
ARMS,
Mario
Tennis, Aces, Sushi Striker. But I think they said that it may not be every single game, but it's going to be probably the big ones to make sure you get a hold of it.
Right. So, I have a feeling it's going to be most. Anytime someone says something like this, anytime a company says something like this early on, where you may not need it for everything, it always ends up being that way. And the most popular online games are the Nintendo ones, and those are already being said that they're going to require it. $20 a year is a third of the price of PlayStation Now, and I believe Xbox Live if you were to buy those at full price.
Or $8 for 3 months, $4 for 1 month, or a family membership for 12 months for only $35, and that's up to, I believe, 8 people on one account.
That's incredibly nice. That's just...
So I guess if you have... Does it be the same vicinity, or you can just share it with the same account with friends even?
I have no idea. That's worth looking into.
It's worth looking into, but $20 for a whole year is
it's nothing. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's great. And here's the part that is not surprising, but everyone might act like it. So there's no virtual console, everyone. And what we're getting is the NES games. We're getting NES Online.
We're getting 20 games that they're going to launch with.
20 that are going to start.
For NES. 10 announced.
The ones that are announced are Ice Climber, Legend of Zelda, Balloon Fight, Soccer, Tennis, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Dr. Mario, Super Mario Brothers 3, and Donkey Kong. And there's a very cool catch with these, and that is you will be able to play these online in any of the 2-player modes with other people.
Or you can switch off between players.
Well, yeah, any of the 2-player modes. So like you can pass the controller.
I also read you can also switch off with someone to take over as the first player.
Oh, that's
a different
interesting
location.
too.
So if you're playing Zelda with someone, you can switch the controls to someone else.
Oh, neat.
Well, that's what I saw, at least. If that's the case, that's just cool to do that.
I think you're right. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So
they're integrating chat as well via the smartphone app.
So that's still kind of weird, but okay, we get it. This is why I think they're so hardcore on that. I think Nintendo's so erring on the side of caution when it comes to watching. They're probably going to be listening or have a way to go back and listen back to some of these. I hate to say it, to be like, okay, was this person really fucking around? We have a record of that. Let's get rid of her ban. That's what I think. They're gonna be a little NSA-ing this thing a bit. That's my opinion. I think that's part of this. Sort of security.
We'll have to see what the terms of service are. I would say it's just as likely that it's Nintendo being very careful, yes, and trying to completely divest themselves of the chat platform touching the system at all.
Sure.
So if parents ask, is there any chat on the system, they can say no. They need a cell phone, they need a login or something. Okay. So
it's extra protection for kids.
Right. So that parents can say, so basically Nintendo can come out and say, no, our system does not offer chat, but with an additional device and this and that, you can.
Online features including Nintendo eShop, friend registration, and management, the sharing of screenshots over social networks, Nintendo Switch parental controls, updates, obviously, and news will not be affected by the launch of the Switch Online paid service. So you're really, for $20 a year, you're getting multiplayer NES games that we know about. We don't even know if there's gonna be more announced, or Super Nintendo
No,
think
they did say that there would be more added regularly.
So you're getting a Netflix retro service that's not just ROMs, because you can now have multiplayer, and you can have you can switch off in there and voice in there. So that's a game changer for Nintendo to finally do that. And you're gonna have, obviously, the big change you're gonna have to buy in order to play the games online again. But this is a year after they originally wanted to launch this. They've obviously held it back in order to make sure they know which way the wind's blowing. They've gone different directions. Originally, you're only going to get, remember, one NES game a month only. Like that was going to be cool. And now they're going to say, okay. So in this year between, they knew with the NES Classic, obviously, and Super Nintendo Classic, that they could sell their older games in a different way and make money on them, obviously.
Right.
And they probably figured out that combination with this was probably the most lucrative plan. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. Otherwise, Absolutely. It would have just kept the virtual console. But they probably figured the bundling of games will make a lot more money in the long run. Otherwise, I mean, we look at the 10 games announced out of the 20. Out of the 10 games they announced, there's probably 2 or 3 that almost no one would ever buy on their own.
Soccer
and tennis, no one would ever buy. And you can make a case that not many people would even buy the original Donkey Kong. Maybe. Or wouldn't buy the original Ice Climber, or the original Mario.
I was going to say the original Mario Brothers. That's obviously just a toss-in for free when you've got you've got an arcade perfect version.
And that's
Switch.
One of the only. There's not that many multiplayer original black box games,
right?
At the same time, so you have Mario Brothers, tennis. You have that, obviously, any of the sports games, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber. And Dr. Mario, obviously, it's multiplayer. So you have to throw those in.
That's the nice one for the multiplayer right there, is the Dr. Mario.
Oh, sure. But see, so that's a good mix, though. But most people wouldn't bother to play soccer, tennis. But, it's multiplayer. Why not? I'll play your ass in tennis. Why not? It's there. So the strength, to me, the value of this is, those alone, the value's there for the online service is just that.
Yeah.
Plus, you can play the NES games offline. That's a huge point to me, too. You don't have to be online. So, okay, you can take it on the go and be portable. You don't have to be connected to any network. It's not DRM'd.
Ice hockey better be on that list.
Oh, Ian, we know how much you spank me in those games all the time.
Uh-huh. So. I know.
But
I'm just going to keep getting better and better.
But this is exciting because the only way you could do this before with multiplayer, like you download, like some emulators have the online support. But it's very cumbersome, and not everyone obviously has it. And I'd rather play it on a Switch, versus playing on an emulator online against someone, and it's portable. So this to me is a different direction that I'm kind of shocked Nintendo went in, but they probably figured out this is the wave of the future, having this sort of subscription service. And like you said, if they start adding Super Nintendo games and N64 games, then hell, I don't even mind if they start bundling games together and selling them as bundles. And maybe they would even do that at some point.
Sure.
Maybe they'll have like, it's whatever. It's $20 a year. For an extra $5 a year, you get all these Super Nintendo games. An extra $5 on top of that. You know what I mean? Like they'll have different tiers. I can picture them doing that.
Yeah, I could totally see it as a thing where they will, release, say, a block of 5 or 8 games, a month or something like that, and they'll drip out 2 for free. But if you wanted to buy, the rest of them, you could.
I just see it as a cable service.
Yeah.
Or you have different tiers. That's all. I don't think that's, $20 and again, it's only a year, not even a month. $20 a year. Here's your NES package. 25 Super Nintendo plus NES. 35 you get, you know what I mean? Like you start building up, and even the people be like, what, $35 a year? It's like, that's still nothing. $45 a year, that's still nothing.
There's very little that they could do that I think would upset the customers in terms of what you could pay yearly, especially because it's coming with stuff that is beyond your online play and the 2 middling games a month you might get from Sony or Microsoft with your subscriptions.
Sure.
This is stuff that people actually want more of.
Yeah.
So when you're starting at that $20 base point, even if they made like a max, and I'm not saying they would, but we get down the road here and they offer a $60 a year plan. If it's loaded with shit, well, then no one, if it's loaded with stuff, you're going to find less people who care, because at that point you're topping out at their most expensive plan at 60
Sure,
with tons of stuff, instead of that being the base price. I wouldn't be surprised if they do eventually get to that point, and that's how they get to that $60 a year like every other company does. They just do it because they have all this shit in their back catalog that they can throw out there for nothing.
Yeah, what if they do? What if they eventually get to the point? I'm not saying it's happening anytime soon, but $80. Okay, now we're breaking to the GameCube library finally. You get some of those games on, and people will be like, "Okay, here's the money. Here, take it, take it, take it."
Oh yeah,
Just take it. Again, 'cause this is per year. They started so low that when they start increasing the prices, like you said, like I don't think people are going to complain that much. I'm not going to complain. There should be zero complaints over $20 a year.
Yeah.
None, like absolutely nothing compared to everything else, and what you're paying for Netflix and Hulu and everything else. You're paying $120+ a year for all these services, not counting your regular cable where you're paying $100 a month for that, or 80 if you're still on cable. So I think the other interesting part about this is that this is really being that they're getting back into the back catalog in order to finally institute multiplayer. That can open up a lot more streaming possibilities on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
As long as they're not really too dogmatic about enforcing, the copyright stuff. I think it'd be a kick in the balls in order to stream or play with you, and have people say, "Oh, play Mario Brothers together." 2-player. That could be a fun time. Or Dr. Mario or ice hockey. It'd be a lot easier to do that versus some people coming over and get in front of the TV and put in the old hardware. I think that's a game changer, at least a small part. Or like I said, the handoff of controllers of Legend of Zelda. Just the novelty of it could be weird and fun.
Yeah, it'd be. Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
There's possibilities. Mm-hmm. So I think there was really a change in Nintendo the past year and a half with this stuff, where they said, let's really think long term about the value of our products. And I think they came to the proper decision. And again, this isn't even seeing what the other 10 games are to start. And like you said, they're going to add more and more from other systems and more all the time. And like I said, if there's like a $30 premium package, maybe that's the third party package where you get, Konami and Capcom games on there. And people be like, okay, here's my money. Take it.
Right.
Especially because you can play them and you can play them offline. And we didn't bring about me the most surprising, most important about this, the cloud backup.
Oh, right.
That's what was surprising to me.
Fair enough. So, I actually, to be honest with you, I didn't even notice that.
Ian, you're killing me. So cloud backup is important because if you get a new Switch, your save games are intact, and your profile and everything, you're good to go.
That's excellent.
I mean, that's fantastic.
This was always one of the really stupid things about the 3DS. If you would want to upgrade your 3DS and transfer, unless you went to a place like Luna, or every once in a while you would find a GameStop where the employees would be pretty cool about it. Mm-hmm. You couldn't trade in or sell your previous 3DS to get money towards your upgrade, because you had to have both of your systems to transfer everything.
Sure, before you could do that.
Yeah. So now with this sort of thing, which should have been obvious in the first place, but then whatever. Now you can back all that stuff up if you want to, or if just your system breaks, you don't have to worry about everything.
If your system breaks, you're not, your 300 Vonnie hours playing Breath of the Wild aren't lost.
Jesus, probably closing in on 400 at this point.
What would she do? She'd just throw herself into the Pacific Ocean at that point.
She'd probably fume for about 2 days and then magically get over it. I have no idea how she does that.
I forgot about one other thing that was important about this, and I just totally lost in this. Oh yeah, so you definitely at this point you're not gonna be able to transfer over. Forget about connecting your old past paid virtual console games to your Switch. We thought that would be, at least I thought that'd be, they'll bring them in for a fee. Nintendo's like, nope, that's not worth it. We'll just give you most of the games back. Maybe some of them, at least on the virtual console that you brought before, and just do that. So it is what it is. I didn't have a virtual console library. Maybe you did. So
I mean, just a few that I like to play wherever I go, like Zelda 2.
I'm sure that you'll be able to play that again on this.
Yeah.
And again, the portability is the huge thing here. This is like, I know people are saying, oh, we're going to buy Super Mario 3 for the 17th time. Yes, you are. But at least it's part of a service this time where you're paying a very small incremental cost as part of a larger package. So there's not much negativity here that I can see about this, besides the voice chat for us adults. All right, any final thoughts on this?
No, that covers it.
Never. Okay. All right. So the Nintendo A-OK. And then people should just suck it up about the virtual console, I guess.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's still articles saying, you know, that virtual console not coming. They said there was going to be no virtual console. They said that this was what they were going to do like a freaking year ago. I don't know why people need to constantly be reminded that there's not going to be a virtual console. It's insane. It's dumb.
It's dumb. People are dumb. They should get over it.
It's crazy.